Welcome back. You've done 2 modules of real work to get here. You mapped your operative identity in Module 1 with more honesty than most people ever bring to this question. In Module 2, you looked at the gap across 5 dimensions with the kind of precision that makes it possible to do something about it. That was the seeing. Module 3 is about doing something with what you saw. This is where we build the bridge. I want to be clear about what you're stepping into. A lot of people hear daily practice and expect something in the motivational routine family. A morning affirmation maybe, a 5-minute journal prompt. That's not this. What Module 3 introduces is a structured neurological rehearsal protocol. 3 specific elements, each one targeting a different mechanism of identity encoding in the brain. These aren't interchangeable, they're not optional. They work as a system, and understanding why each one does what it does is what allows you to run the protocol with the precision it requires. And I'll tell you honestly, the first few days, it's going to feel strange. That's fine. Strange means you're operating at the edge of your current identity model. That edge is exactly where the work needs to happen. The protocol has 3 elements. Let me walk you through each one so you know what you're working with before we go into the detail. The first is the Embodied Morning Visualization, not the passive mind movie version you've probably seen in other programs. This is first person, fully somatic, experienced from inside the body of the person you're becoming, not watched from a distance. You're not picturing that person. You're being them in an ordinary moment where the shift is simply the unremarkable background of your life. There's a specific neurological reason this matters. The hypnopompic window, the transition period right after waking, is one of the most receptive brain states available to you all day. The protocol uses it. That's why the first instruction is, before you check your phone, run the visualization. The second element is the daytime identity check-in. 5 times per day, at minimum, you pause and ask one question: what would the person I am becoming do here? Not a lengthy deliberation. A brief pause, a conscious choice, and then a journal note at the end of the day about one moment where the old pattern pulled and the new identity stepped in instead. That record becomes the evidence base that the shift is happening. This element is the behavioral bridge of the protocol. It's also the one people most often underinvest in because it requires interrupting ordinary automatic behavior in the middle of an ordinary day. The third element is the evening SATS session. SATS stands for State Akin to Sleep, a technique drawn from Neville Goddard and grounded in neuroscience. You're working in the hypnagogic state, the threshold between waking and sleep, where the brain's critical resistance partially drops. New self-referential content has a more direct path to the neural networks that govern identity. You hold the same ordinary scene from your morning visualization, gently, with light and relaxed attention, and allow yourself to drift into sleep while inhabiting it. This is where the day's rehearsal gets encoded at the level where identity architecture changes. Not mysticism, neuroscience that happens to align with what the great consciousness traditions have been pointing at for centuries. Here's something worth understanding before you begin. None of these 3 elements work as well in isolation as it does as part of the complete system. The morning visualization sets the identity tone for the day. The daytime check-ins translate that tone into actual behavior and build a real evidence record. The SATS session consolidates everything the day generated at the neurological depth where identity priors can be updated. When all 3 are running, they compound. Each morning, visualization is richer because the previous evening's SATS session consolidated it. Each check-in is more available because the morning has already loaded the new perspective. Each SATS session has more to work with. The day's check-ins have generated behavioral evidence that the shift is becoming real. That compounding across 14 days is the mechanism. That's how a 2-week protocol produces genuine threshold crossings. I want to say something about resistance because it will show up. It almost always does. It tends to concentrate somewhere in days 3 to 5, after the novelty has worn off and before any tangible evidence of shift has accumulated. That's the window where most people quietly let the protocol dissolve. When you feel that resistance arriving, as boredom or skepticism, I want you to hold this frame. The old identity doesn't mobilize its defenses against things that aren't threatening to it. Resistance is the immune response of the outgoing architecture. It means you've gotten close enough to matter. Note it in your journal, then do the practice anyway. Not with gritted teeth willpower, but with the steady, interesting continuity of someone who is running an experiment and recording the data. Because that's exactly what you are. The modules before this one were about seeing clearly. This one is about acting from what you saw. The reading for Module 3 walks you through each element in full detail. And when you've finished reading, today is day 1. Not tomorrow. Today. The great work is here. The great work is now. And the great work is you.